In Moscow, a generator roars to life. Lights flash. The ground rumbles. Two huge iron doors, the roof of a secret missile silo, slide open. A bassy rumble fills the streets and smoke billows as the missile slowly rises toward the sky. By the time it's just a couple hundred meters off the ground, it's already traveling incredibly fast. In less than a minute, it's nothing but a white dot glinting on the horizon. Believe it or not, it'll take that nuclear missile just 20 minutes to go all the way from Moscow to strike its target, London. So while that missile goes on its way to destroy the world's sixth richest city, let's examine where the UK has gone wrong and why it may be the worst place in the world to be when World War III kicks off. It only took a matter of hours for Vladimir Putin to utter the words World War III after he won the election for his fifth presidential term. Celebrating his highly dubious 88% share of the votes, the Russian president was asked by a reporter about comments made by French President Emmanuel Macron suggesting that France would consider sending its own troops into Ukraine to help defend the country from Russian invasion. Putin did not mince words. I think anything is possible in today's world, and it's clear to everyone that this would be one step from a full-scale World War III. This isn't the first time Putin's camp has openly threatened the West with a global conflict. Former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev has been one of Putin's closest allies for years. When Putin was forced to step down from the presidency by the Russian constitution, which states that a president can only serve 2 four-year terms in a row, Putin had Medvedev step in as his substitute and changed the constitution itself to allow Putin to come back to serve consecutive 6-year terms. In February 2024, Medvedev made a big claim on Putin's behalf. Speaking to the media, he stated that if Russia were to be defeated in its attempts to invade Ukraine, the entire arsenal of Russian nuclear weapons would be directed at Kyiv, Berlin, Washington, D.C., and London. In his words, Russian defeat would mark the beginning of a total war. Why London? Russia and the UK have a long history of tensions stretching back decades. Russian agents have carried out a spate of high-profile poisonings using Novichok nerve agents and fatally radioactive isotopes on British soil. In the UK, Alexander Litvinenko is a household name, a former KGB officer who defected and joined the British Secret Service as an informant. Litvinenko was assassinated in central London in 2006. The agents involved botched the assassination, and Litvinenko survived in a hospital for over 2 weeks. From his hospital bed, as radiation poisoning gradually destroyed his body, he worked with the British authorities to track down his killers and reveal what valuable intel he had left. In the Salisbury poisonings, 2 people were found unconscious and foaming at the mouth on a bench in the quiet country town of Salisbury. A few months later, in the neighboring town, more deaths. The culprit? A bottle of perfume containing a Novichok nerve agent. After being used on the initial targets, the Russian agent involved dumped the perfume in a trash can in a nearby town, where it went on to poison 2 more people. Add on to this Britain's close alliance with the US during the Cold War years, and it's no surprise that since Russia invaded Ukraine, the UK has sent more aid to Ukraine than any other country except for the United States. It's no wonder Medvedev put the UK so high up on Putin's nuclear target list. But with all this aid going across to Ukraine, is the UK stretching itself too thin? The UK was once quite literally the king of the world. The old adage that the sun never set on the British Empire was true. Colonial rule stretched to all corners of the globe, from Canada to Australia to India and vast swaths of Africa. This tiny island nation was the first in the world to industrialize, and so it had shot ahead of its peers. In 1913, the British Empire was in charge of over 412 million people, a quarter of the world's population. The UK's population made up just 10% of that number. As time has gone on and independence has been granted to each member individually, British influence on the world stage has steadily declined. But the UK is a prominent member of the United Nations Security Council, a founding member of the G7, G20, NATO, AUKUS, OECD, WTO, Council of Europe, OSCE, and the Commonwealth of Nations. The UK is ranked 6th in the world in terms of military power, behind the US, Russia, China, India, and South Korea, with the latter being the only one on the list with a population size even close to the UK's. Looking at the numbers from the top-down level, the UK has immense firepower, vastly outstripping its geographic size and population. It should be more than capable of holding its own in World War III, right? While strong on paper, the UK military has been in a steady decline for the last 2 decades in the real world. The RAF, Royal Navy, and Army are not the same in 2024 as they were at the turn of the 21st century. Right now, the UK is not engaging in any large-scale conflicts, so the military